Welcome to our Wheel and Anchor webinar for our Mallorca LiveAway, a 2-week Mediterranean escape on one of Spain's most enchanting islands. You've certainly heard about Mallorca before. Maybe you know somebody who's been and raved about it. In this webinar, I'll walk you through the Wheel and Anchor version of Mallorca. Our 14-night stay is split between two distinct and equally charming settings. First, the capital of Palma, and in the second half, the peaceful, sun-drenched town of Port de Pollença in the island's northeast. We'll explore the culture, landscapes, and rhythms of life in Mallorca, a place where Roman ruins meet Moorish arches and cobblestone lanes lead to sea view cafes. Mallorca is a destination that blends everything we love about travel. Walkable old towns, dramatic coastline, welcoming locals, and of course, fantastic Mediterranean cuisine. And in classic live-away style, we've built plenty of time for you to settle in, find your own rhythm, and really get to know the island at your own pace. If you've joined one of our webinars before, you can use the time markers below this video to skip ahead to the itinerary. But if you're new to Wheel and Anchor, I encourage you to stay with us for the next few slides where I'll tell you a little bit about who we are and what makes our community of travelers so special. Before I dive into the details of this Mediterranean live-away, I want to take a moment to share with you who we are at Wheel and Anchor and what makes our approach to travel different. We're a community of Canadian explorers, curious, thoughtful, and passionate about discovering the world in a way that's a little deeper and a little more personal. We design our trips with the belief that the best travel experiences happen not just when you see something extraordinary, but when you truly connect with a place and its people. So, yes, we absolutely include all those iconic sites. We certainly wouldn't bring you to Mallorca without taking in the stunning Cathedral of Palma or its traditional sobrasada. But just as important are the quiet, everyday moments of morning coffee at your favorite cafe, a walk down a street you've never taken before, or a spontaneous chat with the local shopkeeper. And that's where our live away concept really shines. You're not checking in and out of hotels every couple of days. You're unpacking, staying a while, and letting the destination reveal itself to you. For many of our members, it's these slower, more immersive experiences that turn a great trip into something truly memorable. We have two key aims for all of our members. We believe in being both well-traveled and well-connected. But being well-traveled isn't just about how many places you've been. It's about how deeply you engage with the places that you visit. It's about noticing the details, asking questions, and allowing a destination to shape your perspective. In Mallorca, that might mean learning why almond blossoms are so tied to the island's culture, or walking through a market and realizing that the fishermen selling today's catch know your name by the second week. Being well connected, well, that goes beyond just sharing a group itinerary. It's about the friendships formed on these trips, the conversations that spill over from dinner into late night laughter, and the shared sense of wonder that builds among people who see travel in the same way. Our trips aren't just about where we go, they're about who we go with and how we choose to experience the world together. A quick word about who we are, behind the scenes, so to speak. First of all, my name is Gordon Dreger, and I'm the founder of Wheel and Anchor, and I've spent over 3 decades in the travel industry. I created this community for travelers who crave meaningful experiences, cultural richness, and genuine connection, not just checklists and photo ops. But I certainly couldn't do all of this alone. The person you'll likely hear from the most is Paula Sarnik, our lead trip specialist. If you call or email us with questions about this or any of our trips, Paula's the one who'll make sure you have everything you need. She's deeply knowledgeable, incredibly friendly, and always happy to chat with our members. So if Mallorca speaks to you, Paula is your go-to person to make it happen. Here's what we'll be covering in the rest of this webinar. We'll start off with a quick look at the map to give you a sense of Mallorca's geography and the layout, and then we'll walk through the day-by-day details of our 14-night live-away. You'll get to know what's planned, what's optional, and where there's room to make the experience your own, because this trip, like all of our live-aways, is designed around balance. We've included key cultural highlights, some lightly guided experience, and plenty of unstructured time for rest, reflection, and spontaneous discovery. Let's start by getting our bearings. Mallorca is the largest of Spain's Balearic Islands, located in the Mediterranean Sea just off the eastern coast of Spain. Its primary neighboring islands are Ibiza and Menorca. You might have heard of those ones as well. Palma Airport, where we'll land, is about a 2 hour flight roughly from most major flight hubs in Europe, but it's a world away in terms of atmosphere. The island is shaped a bit like a softly rounded triangle, with dramatic mountains to the north and west, fertile plains in the center, and picture postcard beaches along the eastern and southern shores. Its capital, Palma, is on the southwest coast, and that's where we'll start our journey. We'll begin the first part of our stay there in the capital, Palma de Mallorca. It's a city that blends history with laid back island life. And after that, we'll head up to the north and east to Port de Pollença. It's a quieter seaside town with the Tramontana Mountains as the backdrop, perfect place for relaxing walks, market days, and taking in the natural beauty of the region. Let me now take you through what you can expect on each day of our 2 week live away in Mallorca. We begin our journey, as I mentioned, in Palma, where you'll be met at the airport and transferred to our hotel in the heart of this historic town. Palma is over 2,000 years old and has lived many lives. It was a Roman colony, a Moorish port, as well as a Spanish stronghold. The cobbled lanes here wind through centuries of history, and our charming boutique hotel is nestled right in the middle of it all. After checking in, you might be tempted to rest, and that's absolutely fine. But for those energized by that first day excitement, not to mention a desire to get ahead of the jet lag, you'll be perfectly placed for a casual wander. Whether it's the smell of fresh bread in a corner bakery or the echo of footsteps on a quiet street, there's something special about exploring a city without a map on the first day. In the early evening, we'll host our first Wheel and Anchor mingle, an informal get-together to raise a glass, share some laughs, and get to know some of our fellow members, building those connections that will shape the weeks to come. Tucked into one of the winding streets of Palma's historic center, we'll be staying at Palma Suites. I discovered this treasure when I visited Mallorca about a year and a half ago. It's a stylish residence hotel, perfect for longer stays, which makes it ideal for our live away program. There's just 35 individual units. Each one has its own unique layout and charm, combining Scandinavian design with Mediterranean colors. It's the perfect home base for soaking up the rhythm of the city, just a short walk from the cathedral, cafes, and daily life unfolding in the plaza below. The jewel of Palma Suites is undoubtedly its rooftop terrace with a plunge pool, perfect for relaxing after a day of exploration while enjoying stunning views of Old Town rooftops and the cathedral. There's also a fitness center with quality equipment, and they can even arrange an in-suite massage treatment. It goes without saying that the hotel also offers 24-hour reception and bar service, as well as a daily happy hour between 7 and 8 p.m., which makes it an ideal retreat for our members wishing to mingle together at the end of a day. The bright and functional suites are built for both comfort and independence. Each one's got a kitchen, a living and dining area, and thoughtful touches like an espresso machine, high-speed Wi-Fi, and a smart TV. But it's important to note that because this is truly a boutique property, no two suites are exactly alike. Some are single level, others have lofted sleeping areas, and others still have internal staircases. Whichever suite you're assigned to, though, the vibe is quiet, well appointed, and unmistakably Mallorcan. After breakfast, we'll gather in the lobby for a brief orientation with your host. You'll learn about how the live away format works, what's planned, and how to make the most of your time here. Then we'll head out with our local guide for a short walking tour of the neighborhood, pointing out some useful spots like ATMs, grocery stores, or maybe even a hidden gelato shop. The rest of the day will be yours to explore, settle in, or simply relax. You'll immediately find that Palma has so many cool alleys and lanes to explore. In the early evening, we'll meet again for another mingle, this time at a nearby bar for a pre-dinner cocktail with view. On this day, we're going to be setting out on foot after breakfast for a more in-depth guided exploration by way of an intimate walk through the heart of Palma's old town. We'll be led through those narrow alleys and around hidden corners, and we'll hear the stories of the city's layered history, from the Roman foundations to the Moorish arches and Gothic facades. We'll pass through what was once the Jewish Quarter, a poignant reminder of the island's rich but often turbulent past. One of the architectural highlights will be the Gothic Cathedral of Lascaux, a soaring waterfront landmark whose interior was partly reimagined by the artist Antoni Gaudi. You'll remember him from the Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. We'll step inside to admire its stained glass and vaulted ceilings, truly a symbol of Mallorca's grandeur. And then we'll head over to the Olivar Market, a lively indoor space where locals shop for fresh produce, cheeses, and regional specialties. This is a wonderful place to get a feel for the local rhythm and maybe sample a few bites along the way. Our walk will continue along the elegant Esborn Promenade and end up with a private visit to a 15th century palace, still owned by the same family after all these years. It's a rare opportunity to step inside the past. The afternoon will be once again yours at leisure, dinner on your own tonight, but after today's inspiration, you'll undoubtedly find yourself seeking out some tucked away tapas bar or a waterfront table for sunset views. Today will be completely free for you to explore on your own or join a guided hike in the nearby Tramontana Mountains. This area is part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and the Tramontana mountain range stretches across the island's northwest, and it offers a glimpse into a landscape which has been shaped by generations of shepherds, farmers, and stonemasons. We'll travel by bus over to the trailhead, where a local guide will lead us on a moderately challenging walk along part of the dry stone route. The path climbs through terraced slopes, olive groves, and ancient walls, revealing sweeping views of the countryside and the sea. Partway through, we'll stop for a delicious picnic lunch in the open air. Perfect moment to catch your breath and take it all in. The trail eventually loops back to our starting point, and we return to Palma by mid-afternoon. For those not joining the hike, the day is wide open. You can choose to relax at a cafe, return to a favorite museum, or explore another different neighborhood of Palma. It's a great opportunity to let curiosity guide your way. By this time of the trip, you'll likely be finding your own rhythm in Palma, and the day will be left completely free for your own discoveries. For art lovers, I particularly recommend Es Baluard, which is a contemporary art museum built into the old sea wall. Its modern galleries offer not only a particularly interesting collection of art, but also some panoramic views over the harbor and the city rooftops. Alternatively, also for art lovers, you might want to visit the edge of the city where you'll find the Fundació Miró. The celebrated Spanish artist Joan Miró spent his final years here, and his studio remains just as he left it, paintbrushes, canvases, and all. For something a little bit more architectural, you've got Belver Castle, which offers not only history, but also sweeping views back again towards the sea. The shaded trails around the castle make for a refreshing walk. But you could also explore one of Palma's charming markets like Santa Catalina, or pay a visit to Can Balguer, a beautifully restored mansion that offers insight into 19th century upper class life in Mallorca. But if you're looking to just take it easy, a stroll along the waterfront or even a visit to the nearby Palma Aquarium may be just the thing. This is a live-away after all. The pace is yours to choose. We have another free day, but we've put together an interesting optional half-day excursion to explore Mallorca's rural life and culinary traditions. For those joining us on this excursion, we'll head in towards the island's central plains to the Binissalem wine region, an area known for its centuries-old vineyards and distinctive varietals. We'll visit a local winery, walk through the vineyards, and enjoy a private tasting of their red, white, and rosé selections. Depending on the timing, hopefully we'll have time to stop at a small olive oil mill near the towns of Caimari or Sóller. Here, we'll learn about traditional olive pressing and sample a few different oils from the most recent harvest. Afterwards, we'll have a casual lunch before returning back to Palma. Today, we'll gather as a whole group and venture beyond Palma to explore the island's northwestern coast, a region celebrated for its natural beauty and artistic legacy. We'll begin with a ride on the vintage tram to Sóller. The narrow gauge railway dates back to 1912, and the journey itself through tunnels and mountain passes is part of the magic. The town of Sóller is one of the most popular spots on the island, and it's a charming spot nestled in a lush valley of orange and lemon groves. We'll then hop on to an even older tramway that'll take us down to the port of Sóller, which was once the main shipping point for Mallorca's prized citrus fruits. There's a wonderful seaside promenade that's ideal for a short stroll before we continue on up to Dea. This is a tiny hilltop village that's long attracted writers, painters, poets who were drawn to its serenity and views. It'll be easy to see why. We'll have time to wander around the stone streets before then we continue to our final stop at Valldemossa. This town is famous for its monastery and its connection to the composer Frédéric Chopin. But even without all the history, Its stone buildings and shaded terraces make it one of the prettiest spots on the island. We'll return back to Palma in the late afternoon, and the evening will be free for you to reflect or recharge. After our first week, it'll be time to say goodbye to Palma and begin the second chapter of our Mallorca live-away as we head up to the seaside town of Port de Pollença. We'll make the less than 1 hour trip with our private minibus and get settled into our accommodation in the heart of this laid-back and artsy town with its terrific location. In fact, I included this aerial photo so you can get a sense of where the town is situated against the backdrop of mountains and sea. Once everyone's checked in, we'll have a short little orientation tour of the area with our local guide. They'll point out practical things like the ATMs and the cafes and pharmacies, but also a few favorite cafes and hidden corners to explore later. In the evening, we'll gather again for yet another mingle, a relaxed and informal way for us to toast the week and make some plans with our new friends for the days at leisure ahead. Here in Port de Pollença, we're going to be staying at the Iador, a historic seafront hotel right on the town's famous Pine Walk promenade. With the bay just steps away and cafes around the corner, it's a tranquil and picturesque setting, perfect for sunset strolls and quiet mornings on the water. The hotel has been welcoming guests since the 1920s and still holds that timeless Mediterranean charm. One of the most special things about staying at Iliador is simply looking out the window. Whether you're sipping coffee on the terrace or relaxing with a book in the lounge, the views over the Bay of Pollença are truly spectacular. The hotel's elegant common areas, small spa, and inviting breakfast room all open up to the sea, making it easy to start each day with a sense of calm and beauty. Our rooms come with either a double or two single beds, a private bathroom, of course, with a walk-in shower and a balcony, some offering lateral or full sea views. Each room is equipped with air conditioning, a minibar, and satellite TV, as well as tea and coffee facilities, as well as an ironing board. Views and layouts vary somewhat between each room, but they all offer comfort, calm, and the soft rhythm of seaside life. Today we venture south to explore one of Mallorca's most magical natural wonders, the Caves of Drag. Located near the coastal town of Porto Cristo, these underground chambers stretch over a kilometer with soaring stalactites, dramatic rock formations, and a remarkable feature at the end, Lake Martel, which is one of the largest underground lakes in all of Europe. Our guided walk through the caves will lead us down into this subterranean world and end with a short classical concert performed live from the small boats on the lake. It's truly an atmospheric experience. We'll also have the chance to cross the lake either by footbridge or in one of the rowboats, depending on the conditions. If time allows, we'll stop at a nearby pearl workshop. Mallorca's man-made pearls have been produced here since the 19th century, and during our visit, we'll learn a little bit about this unique manufacturing process and perhaps find a little something to take home. We'll be back in Pollença by the early afternoon and have the rest of the evening to relax or revisit a favorite corner of town. Today is yours to enjoy however you wish, whether that means a quiet morning at a local cafe, a stroll along the beach, or perhaps exploring a few new corners of Port de Pollença. You might also want to catch a local bus into Pollença itself, which is just a few kilometers away. But we have something special for those who are interested in a bit of an adventure. For those who wish to join us on an optional outing, we have quite some sights in store. First, we'll head inland to Alcudia, one of Mallorca's oldest towns. On market day, the main square and surrounding streets come alive with stalls selling crafts, food, and local specialties. We'll also take a short walk along the medieval walls that still surround the old town. We then get to discover the untamed spirit of Mallorca's northern coast on our drive to Cap de Formentor. We'll wind along cliffs sculpted by Mediterranean winds, where pine forests cling to limestone ridges and the sea glows turquoise below. There's a good chance we'll spot some wildlife along the way, but our attention will be quickly captured again by the incredible vistas. All in all, it will be one of the most scenic days of the trip. Today's optional excursion will turn our attention to Mallorca's southern coastline, a stretch known for its hidden coves, turquoise waters, and unspoiled natural beauty. This full-day excursion includes visits to 3 of the island's most picturesque beaches, each with its own unique charm. Our first stop will be Cala Lombards, a lovely cove tucked between rocky cliffs where the sea remains shallow and calm. It's an easy place to settle in for a swim or simply soak up the view. Next, we'll continue on foot to Salmunia, a rocky inlet which was once used for fishing boats. The few stone buildings that remain here lend it a bit of a nostalgic charm, and the flat rocks near the water make it a favorite spot for a dip or a sunbath. Our final stop will be at Calo del Moro, often called the most beautiful beach in Mallorca. The path down is a bit steep and uneven, but the reward is worth it. It's a narrow cove framed by high cliffs and crystal clear water that seems to glow in the sunlight. We'll bring a picnic lunch with us and divide the day between swimming, walking, and simply enjoying these coastal gems. Just a note, access to some of these beaches requires walking over some uneven ground, so some good footwear and a bit of balance will be helpful. Also, the water at this time of the year is still on the chilly side, so while swimming isn't a must, I definitely encourage a dip into the clear Mediterranean waters. We'll be back in Port de Pollença by late in the afternoon, relaxed, maybe with a bit of a suntan, and ready for a quiet evening. Once again, you can enjoy a bit of time on your own, or we're also offering something a little more hands on, which is a chance to not only taste Mallorca, but to learn how to make it. We'll start the morning with a stroll through a local market, selecting the fresh, in season ingredients that will go into our paella, one of the most famous dishes in Spain. Our guide will help us understand what makes the local version of this dish particularly unique, and how it varies from region to region in Spain, and what's particularly special about the approach here in Mallorca. From there, we head to a nearby cooking school where each of us will have a chance to prepare our own paella from start to finish. We'll have the guidance of a local chef. We'll build each dish step by step, layering flavors, stirring with care, and aiming for that prized finish, the socarat, the crispy base that's the sign of a job well done. When the cooking's all done, we'll sit down together and enjoy the fruits of our labor alongside a tasty glass of local wine. Of course, it's a delicious and immersive experience, and one that many of our members say becomes a highlight of our trip. Today offers complete freedom to immerse yourself in Mallorca's northern charms, with opportunities to explore both coastal relaxation or to take in some of the island's heritage a bit further inland. While it will certainly be a compelling option to hang out on the seaside at Port de Pollença, if you head just 6 kilometers further inland, you'll get to the historic core of Pollença town itself. It's a labyrinth of cobblestone streets that radiate out from a Renaissance era Plaza Mayor, or main square. This sun dappled square was built on top of a medieval cemetery back in the 19th century. And if you're looking for something a little more active to do, not far away are the 365 Calvary steps, which present quite a rewarding challenge. You walk up this cypress-lined stairway where each step represents a day of the year to reach the 14th century Calvary Chapel, where Knights Templar once guarded a revered crucifix. The panoramic view from the summit stretches out over the terracotta rooftops of the town and out to the Bay of Pollença itself. But for those who are maybe drawn to a bit of spiritual heritage, you can head 25 kilometers southwest to the Santuari de Luc, which is Mallorca's most sacred pilgrimage site, nestled high up in the Tramontana Mountains. The bus ride is around 35 minutes from Port de Pollença itself, and it winds through the landscapes of ancient holm oaks, and you'll arrive at this 13th century monastery housing the La Moreneta, which is a revered dark wood Virgin Mary statue that was discovered in a mountain crevice. And if you time your visit right, you can visit the late morning performance of Els Blauet. It's a choir where Blue Cassock Boys continue a musical tradition that dates back to the 16th century. And we've left that last full day once again free for you to explore on your own. Quite honestly, you might just enjoy the day simply by strolling along the Pine Walk Promenade, which leads from the hotel into the center of town. You could stop along the way, lingering with some of your fellow travelers over coffee, looking out at the sea and comparing notes about everything that we've seen over the last couple of weeks. If you're thinking to yourself, it seems like a lot of free days on this trip, but I can tell you that we've designed this and all of our new liveaways specifically on purpose this way. With now a few years of experience and feedback from our community about what the live-away concept means to our members and how they best like to enjoy their time, I feel like we've struck a pretty good balance between the included explorations to what I think are some of the highlights of the island, as well as a few more optional ideas that will either appeal to you or not, so that you can enjoy the trip without that feeling of, well, I paid for it, so I might as well go. Our final evening will consist of a farewell dinner, of course, and this won't be just a celebration of shared experiences, but it's really a chance to reconnect once again with everybody on the trip and maybe think about where your next travels might take you, which tends to be a favorite conversation amongst our members as our trips come to a close. And just like that, our 2 weeks in Mallorca will come to an end. One last breakfast, and we'll say our goodbyes, and a private transfer will take you back to the airport in Palma. It's about an hour's drive away, where you can fly off either back home or perhaps on to your next destination. As always, our goal with every live away is to give you the space to slow down, to really get to know a place, and to share it with fellow travelers to make the whole journey a whole lot richer. If what I've shared today about this live away in Mallorca has caught your interest, and if you're looking to get some more information, the best place to start is on our website. In fact, you'll find just below this video in the description a link to the webpage that will take you directly to where you can find all of the details. There, you'll get a summary of the starting prices, but most importantly, you can find the link to our detailed trip itinerary, which has everything you need to know about the flights, the accommodation, terms and conditions, etc., etc. Of course, if you have any questions at all, and we encourage you, if you're considering this, but you're not sure if it's right for you, if the pace, if who will go on this trip, any questions that you might have, please, we're here to help. And the best way is to drop an email to Paula and set up a call, and she'll be more than happy to walk through all the details and make sure that you can decide if Mallorca is really for you. Thanks for indulging me in this half hour to explore what our live away in Mallorca is all about. I hope that the highlights that I've shared with you have given you a bit of a sense of the place, the richness of this island, and the idea that it's not just about where we go, but it's about how we travel and who we travel with. And that's really what makes our live aways so special. If you've enjoyed this webinar, you can consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, and then you'll be notified every time we release a new webinar like this. And if you're not already on our newsletter, then that's another great way to stay in the loop about everything that's happening here at Wheel and Anchor. Thanks again. I wish you happy travels. I hope to see you in Mallorca or in one of our other exciting destinations.